Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, June the 26th, 2015. A Palestinian man opened fire on a group of Israeli soldiers this morning at a checkpoint in the West Bank. The soldiers fired back at the attacker, seriously wounding him. Israeli paramedics were called to the scene to treat the man, but he later died of his injuries. No IDF soldiers were injured in the incident, which took place in the Jordan Valley. The White House yesterday stated that it opposed the efforts by the Palestinians to bring war crimes charges against Israel at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. As we reported to you earlier yesterday, Palestinian Authority Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki submitted files to the prosecutors at the ICC containing what the Palestinians claim is evidence of violations of international law by Israel, including its actions in Gaza last summer. U.S. National Security Council spokesman Alistair Baskey said the U.S. has, quote, made clear that we oppose actions against Israel at the ICC as counterproductive. Israel had condemned the PA action as well, calling it an attempt to manipulate and politicize the judicial mechanisms of the court. B'nai B'rith International said the PA was, quote, misappropriating an important global forum to advance its own agenda rather than to advance the cause of peace. A ship aimed at breaking Israel's blockade of Gaza is expected to arrive off its coast Sunday. The Swedish Marianne of Gothenburg set sail from Crete early this morning. On board, approximately 70 pro-Palestinian activists, reportedly bringing with them food and other supplies. Israel and Egypt put the naval blockade in place in 2007 when terror group Hamas took over Gaza in order to make sure weapons are not brought into the Strip. In the past, Israel's Navy has intercepted such ships as the Marianne that are trying to breach the blockade. It allows aid groups to send supplies meant for Gaza to Israel for inspection before those are allowed to then be transferred to Gaza. Jewish organizations and human rights groups will gather Monday in Geneva to show their support for Israel and their condemnation of the recent report by the United Nations Commission of Inquiry on Israel's actions in the Gaza war last summer, which claims that Israel, like terror group Hamas, committed serious violations that could amount to war crimes. The rally coincides with the UN Human Rights Council debate on the report on Monday in the Swiss city. The World Jewish Congress is among those organizations that will be in attendance at the rally. They will also give oral statements to the council. WJC CEO Robert Singer said it was vital to show the UN that its double standard when it comes to Israel is unacceptable and its false portrayal of Israel would not stand. Singer said putting the Democratic State of Israel into the same category as Hamas and other terrorist organizations is not only unfair, but also does great harm to the reputation of the United Nations and to the protection of human rights. Meanwhile, retired British Army Colonel Richard Kemp also weighed in on the biased UN report. In an op-ed published in the New York Times, Kemp calls the report flawed and dangerous, and that it endorses Hamas's anti-Israel narrative. Queen Elizabeth visited Bergen-Belsen today. The British monarch, together with her husband Prince Philip, paid tribute to the more than 52,000 people who died at the Nazi death camp during the Holocaust, just over 70 years after its liberation by British forces. The Queen was to meet with some of those liberators as well as survivors and lay a wreath at the site on this, her last day of her state visit to Germany. 71 new Olim, or new immigrants from the U.S., arrived in Israel yesterday on a group flight of Aliyah group Nefesh B'Nefesh in partnership with Israel's Immigration and Absorption Ministry, together with the Jewish Agency for Israel, Keren Kayemet LeYisrael, and the Jewish National Fund USA. The new Olim are from 21 states in the U.S. and include 32 young men and women planning to join the IDF this summer as lone soldiers. Nefesh B'Nefesh said they were anticipating the arrival of over 2,000 Olim this summer. And looking now at our programming for tonight, Friday, June the 26th. Coming up at 6 o'clock, live Shabbat services from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed at 7:30 with highlights from the Jewish Cultural Festival in Krakow, Poland. At 8 o'clock, Jewish author Cynthia Ozick speaks at the 92nd Street Y. At 9, the film Saved by Deportation. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, June the 26th, 2015. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.